Once again, good morning, my dear brothers and sisters. In one of my classes in arts appreciation, we have discussed or closely maybe debated whether the nature is art or not. Why? Because art, in its strict sense, academically, is something that is created and put into a canvas or a material and later on as a production. But spiritually, we can say that nature is indeed art, having the earth as its canvas. And that is why many people start their spiritual reflection by being attuned with nature. And why not? When God created everything, He found it good. He found it beautiful. And that is why we are asked to reply in the form of a responsorial psalm that may the Lord be glad in His works. Where indeed God is glad in His works. But the question there is, what have we done with this God's work? See? Because you go to the gospel of today, and the gospel of today is actually in contrast when it comes to imagery to the first reading. The gospel account was about Jesus going to places, and in front of Him were people. Either they brought themselves in or brought by others because of their maladies, because of their sickness. Isa siguro sa mga senaryo na nakakalungkot, nakakadepress, nakakapanghina ay ang senaryo ng taong mga may sakit. Hindi ako mamamasyal at pupunta lang sa ospital para makita ang mga may sakit. Nakakalungkot talaga. No? And that's the scenario of Jesus. And Jesus healed them. Whether He was aware of what He was doing or unaware, because people in their faith were contented to touch the tassel of His clothing, the edge of what Jesus was wearing. And here it was said in the end that, and as many as touched it were healed. There was a restoration of beauty. Healing is always a restoration of what was damaged, what was affected. And Jesus did that. But of course, in the end, is the greatest restoration that Jesus did in what God has created. And that is, of course, the salvation that God has given us. And so what is this for us? The account of creation, Jesus healing the people. Because all of these were handed to us. And later on, we became what others may call channels of God's grace. And so tayo rin, nawa tayo ay maging daluyan ng biyaya ng Panginoon. And the way we take care of what God's created and He found beautiful, and also the ministry that Jesus had imparted to all of us, that we too can be channels of healings by our talents, by our care, by our love for others, and our physical features. Our hands, our hearts are all channels of God's graces, especially healing. The power may not come from us, but the faith and of course the readiness to be used by Jesus, so that what God created, what Jesus has restored, be mirrored in the way we live, in the way we care for others. Amen.